Welcome to the MacLean Senior Industries drop installation product demonstration. Although over the years, the actual cable that we use for broadband has not changed much, the way we handle it has changed quite significantly. With today's digital systems with broadband internet, telephony with 911 emergency services, video on demand, the cable has become more important than ever. So we have to make sure that we handle it in the correct way. The old way of doing things is that you used to use the messenger itself in what they called a 2-4-4 wrap method, where you use the messenger to hang the cable in between the pole and the house. There's a couple reasons we want to get away from that in today's environment. Firstly, when you're using the messenger and you're wrapping that first 4 where the messenger is going back over itself before it goes around the cable, you're stressing the minimum bend radius of this messenger. A lot of times if you have a truck roll for a service call and you go there and the drop is down, you will notice that's right where it's going to break. Second problem that you can have is when you do the next 4 where you take the messenger around the cable itself, you can have 2 problems. One, you're coiling the steel wire around the coax, which can work like a notch filter. And secondly, when the cable is under tension due to wind load or ice load or a tree branch of something of that nature stressing the cable, it'll indent. And if you take it apart, you'll see that there's little pressure indentations on the coax. That can change the impedance of the cable, causing signal degradation and packet loss. MacLean Senior Industry offers our messenger drop clamp, which has many benefits over alternate products on the market. It has a much wider body and can be used with RG59, RG6, RG6 dual, as well as RG11 messenger cables. You will also see that both ends of the clamp are beveled out. That's so that you do not have any type of chafing or cutting of the cable as it floats within the clamp. You'll see an indentation in the center of the bail attachment. That's to keep the messenger centered so that it does not slip between the bail and the body of the clamp and pinch where you can have a break. You'll also notice that the tabs are rolled down flat, and that's for safety and to prevent hand injury during installation. You also have a much wider bail for use on multi-span clamps for easier installation and easier removal. When installing the messenger drop clamp, you will notice that there's a small indentation on the top of the clamp. The orientation for the top of the clamp is the bail attachment up, as well as the patented is on the up. That's so that you can have a proper drip loop coming out of the clamp. The small indentation here is to be used as a tool. We do not want to put any kind of sharp utility knives or anything of that nature between the messenger and the cable, because we do not want to have any damage to the jacket on the coax. When installing this, hold the clamp in your hand with the messenger bail attachment up and patented facing up. Use the small indentation to separate the messenger. Now you only need to get it started. We don't want to go ahead and strip it back all the way at this point. Put the cable in the clamp. Go ahead and make sure that the bail is in between the messenger and the cable. Grab both ends and use the bail to strip the messenger back. Make sure you leave enough of a tail to work with if you're doing this on the tap. And you can also do this on the ground before going up the ladder, which makes for safety as well as installation ease. Now when you're getting ready to install the cable, make sure the cable's all the way inside the body of the clamp. You take the messenger, you fold it back over the bail attachment. Use your thumb to make sure that it has pressure and is under tension so that it's nice and tight. Now the most important part of the aspect of this is that you want to make sure that you go across the inside of the clamp from the A notch to the B notch, followed by the C notch. Make one full wrap. Cut off your excess messenger about 2/3 of the way down the clamp, and then tuck the little tail underneath, again for safety so it's not poking you in the hand, and the installation is complete. The next product I would like to demonstrate for you is the MSI multi-span clamp. There are a few benefits to this clamp over the traditional method of using a Q-span clamp when attaching the drop to the strand. The first thing you will see is that this clamp is made out of galvanized steel, the same metal that's used in the strand. So you do not get a dissimilar metal that will give you oxidation and corrosion. Q-span clamps generally have the attachment body that goes onto the strand is made out of an aluminum. Because of that, you will get oxidation. It'll loosen up over time and tend to turn down to where you lose height from the drop. Another benefit you will see on the multi-span clamp are these small jaws on the attachment. Those help to lock into the strand, keeping this attachment nice and tight. Another benefit to the MSI drop system is one tool installation. All the products can be installed using a standard can wrench with a 3/8 and 7/16 drive. For this part of the demonstration, we're going to be assuming that we're working up at the tap. So you will see this little tab. This is a tool to be used during a mid-span application, but for now we want to make sure that that's out of our way. So just make sure that it's turned towards the pole so that it's completely out of your line of usage. The pole is going to be on my left. Go ahead and loosen the clamp up using the 7/16 part of the can wrench. Attach it to the strand. Make sure the tab is facing towards the pole, and then just go ahead and tighten it down nice and tight. And the installation is complete. As I mentioned before, the wider bail on the messenger drop clamp, this is where this really comes into play and makes your installation a lot easier. You can load these clamps up. The reason they're called a multi-span clamp is because you can actually do multiple drop attachments off of the one multi-span. You can do up to 4 messenger drop clamps using the one attachment. So instead of having multiple Q-span clamps to go bi-directional, you have one attachment up at the tap, keeping everything nice and neat. The next benefit to the MSI multi-span clamp I would like to show you is during a mid-span application. Traditionally in a mid-span we use a Q-span clamp. The problem there can be that most times the hard line and the fiber optics are lashed up very tight against the strand. And you may have the tech try to stick a flathead screwdriver or some other type of tool in there to create the space to be able to put the mid-span on. With the MSI multi-span clamp, this is not needed because you can put it on in a vertical orientation and rotate into position. So again, one tool installation using the can wrench on the 7/16. Go ahead and loosen this up and put it on in a vertical orientation onto the strand. Then just tighten it down, not all the way tight, but just loosely onto the strand so that you can still rotate it into position. As I spoke of before, this little tab on the side is for use to separate the messenger during the mid-span. So now you want to make sure that you rotate this away from the direction that you're going to bring the cable, and then rotate into position, and these jaws will slide right between the cable and the strand, preventing any type of damage to the cable or fiber optics. Once you have it in position, again with the tab facing away from the direction you're going with the cable, go ahead and tighten it down using your 7/16 can wrench, locking it onto the strand. And you will see it's nice and tight. It will not move on you over time due to oxidation. So during the mid-span, what you're going to want to do with your messenger cable is go ahead, and again, we've already used a mid-span at the tap with a messenger drop clamp. Go ahead and slack the cable above telephone where you need to be and mark it so that you know where you're at. Take the messenger and rotate it towards your chest, then use the tab to separate the messenger and the cable. Again, we do not want to stick any kind of utility blades or sharp tools in here that may damage the jacket and cause damage to the cable. Once you've separated the messenger away from the cable, as such, You want to make sure that from your center point, when you pulled the cable up and slacked it above telephone, you have about 5 to 6 inches of separated messenger to either point of center. Once you've done this, go ahead and take the messenger, put it up inside the clamp away from the direction that you're going, behind the tab. Then use this almost like a pulley, and you can pull your cable up into position and slack it above telephone. Once you've slacked up above telephone and the cable's in the position that you want, take the messenger, wrap it clockwise 1 time around the clamp, and that is your mid-span installation. The next thing that we want to make sure is that this messenger isn't going to separate away from the cable during wind load conditions, ice load conditions, or anything of that nature with vibrations. We have 2 styles of what we call an S-clip. We have for RG11 and RG6. The S-clips are made of dead soft aluminum and are to be put on with your fingers. We do not want to use channel locks or any other kind of tool to squeeze these on, because again, you can cause damage to the coax, which is what we're trying to have not occur. On the S-clip, you'll see a flat serrated edge. That's the part that goes around the messenger, and the larger, rounder side is what goes around the RG6 or the RG11. To install, go ahead and take the clip, put it over the cable, then over the messenger, and again, using only your fingers, go ahead and tighten down, and now you'll see that you cannot get any separation of the messenger to the cable. Go ahead and put one on each side. Tighten down finger tight. Again, not using any tools or anything where we could damage the coax, and your mid-span installation is complete. The next item I would like to show to you is the MSI aluminum cable tie. This can be used in any application where traditional zip ties made of plastic were used. These are made of aluminum, so they will not have UV degradation over time, which can make the strap break or fall apart. There are a couple different applications when using the aluminum cable tie, and it comes in 3 sizes: 7-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch. So you always have the right size tie for the job. The first application I would like to show to you is when using the aluminum cable tie up at the strand when trying to attach your cables to the strand itself. In this application, you want to go ahead and take the cable tie, wrap it once around the strand using the first locking knuckle inside the head. Go ahead and pull it nice and tight. Then put your cable inside, run it one more time around, still using that first locking head, and then attach into the second head. Pull it down tight, dress up the remainder, and the installation is complete. Now, a nice benefit to this is it is dead soft aluminum, so unlike a zip tie, it will not compress the cable, causing damage to the coax. The second application for the MSI aluminum cable tie is it can be used to attach the cable to the metal or PVC conduit without damaging the conduit on the side of the customer's premise. When using it in this application, you want to go ahead and make sure that you take the cable tie, wrap it once around the coax itself through the first locking buckle on the head. Go ahead and pull that tight. As such, again, this is dead soft aluminum, so it will not compress the coax, changing the impedance, damaging the cable in any way. Once you have the cable inside of the aluminum cable tie, go ahead and put it onto the conduit itself. Go one full wrap around to the second locking head. Pull it tight. Again, you can pull this nice and tight. It will not compress or damage the cable. Once you do, go ahead and just fold back the end to dress it up, and the installation is complete. We've covered the application points at both the tap as well as a mid-span application. Next, you may have to attach to a drop pull, and we have the MSI drop pull attachment. What you will notice is this looks very similar to our multi-span clamp, and it works in much the same way. You will see that it has a tab on the side that, again, you can use to separate the messenger. We're trying to stay away from sticking utility blades or anything like that in between the messenger and cable that may cause damage. Use the tabs, separate the cable. Again, you want about 5 to 6 inches of separated messenger to either side of the center. Wrap clockwise one time around. Put the S-clips like we showed in the mid-span application on so that it does not separate the messenger from the cable. And then hang on your J-lag. Pound the J-lag into the pole. Once you have your installation complete on the drop pole attachment, just install and it'll swing freely. The next item I would like to show you is the MSI Wrenchable P-hook. This replaces your standard P-hook and has many benefits over the standard P-hook. First, you will notice that it has a nice hammer point on the end to start the P-hook before you screw it in. Traditional P-hooks have a slanted side, and when you try to hammer them in, many times your hammer will glance off and can cause damage to the customer's premise. The other benefit to this, again with the one tool installation with the can wrench using the 7/16 side, is you can put the driver onto the P-hook and use that to screw it into the premises. Again, making it much easier for the technician. The third benefit you will notice is when using with the messenger drop clamp is that it locks into position on the wrenchable P-hook, so the orientation of the P-hook will not allow the messenger drop clamp to slip off after installation. For heavier duty applications, MSI offers a variety of different brackets. For instances where you may have a low roof line and you need clearance, we have our angled bracket, which is to be installed on a vertical orientation. And we also have our corner bracket to be used on a corner if the drop is coming in at an odd angle or you need clearance around a downspout. Now that we've covered the cable attachment at the tap, mid-span, drop pole, and premise attachments, you may need to bring the cable down to your house box or ground block. MSI offers a variety of different aluminum U-clips for this purpose. Again, made of soft aluminum, so you will not compress or damage the cable, and you will also notice the beveled edges so it will not dig into the jacket of the cable. MSI's U-clips are available for RG59, RG6, RG6 Quad, RG6 Dual, as well as RG11. For ground wire, we offer for number 6 as well as number 12 gauge ground wire. Another option for attaching to either wood or masonry surfaces are our metal clips with either a self-tapping wood screw for wood installation or a drive pin for masonry. Again, with beveled edges as to not cause damage to the cable. Now that we've ran the cable to the customer's premise, we need to bond the cable. The MSI ground block has many benefits over other ground blocks on the market. It has a stainless steel construction, as well as a horizontal and a vertical slot so that you can attach to almost any surface. It has a field replaceable F-barrel on it, which you will notice has small gaskets so that you do not have to use boots or grommets. You will also notice that the shank on the F connector is lower than the thread, and that prevents water migration working from the threads into the connector. For the ground wire, you will notice that instead of using the screw and driving it in, which may deform the ground wire, we have a V connection which tightens down and will not deform the ground wire. First, I would like to show you the variety of items we offer for attaching to the meter box. For the side of the meter box, we have two versions. We have a wide lip meter box clamp for when you have a very wide spot welded side to the side of the meter box, and our standard or narrow lip for standard meter boxes. Some of the benefits of these clamps are they'll take up to a number 6 ground wire. You'll also see that it has a patented screw with gnarled cutting edges and a center point. The center point keeps it from walking as you screw it down tight, and the gnarled edges cut through the paint and seal at the same time, so there's no reason to use silicone grease or any kind of gel caps. The screw is also a very fine thread, so you get many cuts down into the meter box as you install. So to demonstrate quickly the side lip meter box clamp, again, single tool installation. You want to go ahead and use a 7/16 to open up the clamp. Attach it to the side and go ahead and hold it in place. Use a 7/16 to tighten it down, and that patented screw will cut through the paint, seal at the same time. It will not walk on you as you do it. Then you can take the 3/8 side of the can wrench to attach your ground wire, and again, it will take up to a number 6. For situations where the meter pan may be recessed due to stucco, or if they've resided the home and you cannot get to the side of the panel, we have 2 options for attaching to the front. We have our 2167C, which is a low profile clamp, very thin sprung steel, again using the patented screw, or we have our stainless steel version, the 2167GC. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install the 2167C low profile. What you want to do is go ahead and stick it under the front lip of the clamp. Make sure that you press it all the way up. Again, using single tool installation, you're going to use a 7/16 to tighten it down. It's going to cut through the paint and seal at the same time. And then again, up to a number 6 ground wire using the 3/8. The next item I would like to show you is our vise style grounding connector. This is for use to going from a number 12 to a number 6 ground wire. This replaces the standard split bolt, which MSI also offers in all the major sizes. The benefit to the vise style, again using single tool installation, 3/8 side, you open it up and you can put it over the ground wire. You do not have to take it apart like you would your standard split bolt. And again, once your ground wire over the 6, you put your 12 in, you can tighten down with 1 tool, unlike your standard split bolt, which requires 2 tools to tighten. You also have vibration resistance. This will not loosen up over time. It stays nice and tight. It also lays flat against the customer's home and will not protrude. And because you're not taking it apart, you do not have to worry about losing pieces during installation. Next, I would like to introduce you to MSI's series of ground straps, available in both galvanized for the galvanized steel and copper for cold water systems and ground rods. Our standard series of straps take up to a number 8 ground wire. For applications needing a number 6, we do offer a ground strap for number 6 applications in both galvanized steel and copper as well. Some of the benefits to the MSI series strap is, unlike some straps on the market, we have a reinforced steel hook that will not pop apart when you go to tighten down, as well as a grounding wire backing plate that does not need you to take the ground wire and wrap it around the set screw itself, so it's a much easier installation. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to install the galvanized to the galvanized steel pipe. So you want to go ahead, and first thing you're going to do is this little nut, backing nut on the ground plate, is go ahead and back that off so it's out of your way. Hold the ground strap tight, bring it around to the hook, and try to install it to the closest hole on the strap as possible. And then go ahead and bend the strap out of your way a little bit. Again, using single tool installation, you're going to take the 3-inch side of the can wrench and tighten down the ground strap. And you can get it nice and tight on there, and that hook isn't going to pop apart on you. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go ahead and attach your ground wire. Strip off the jacket to make sure that you get good contact. Go ahead and put it inside behind the backing plate. Again, single tool installation. Using the 7/16, you're going to tighten down that backing nut on the plate, and the installation is complete. MSI also offers an aluminum ground tag so that you can let everybody else know that this is an important bond onto the electrical system and that it should not be tampered with. It's made from green aluminum, so it will not have UV breakdown and fall apart like some other tags on the market. You can either install this by putting it on your ground strap, and you can also put it on the ground wire itself. MSI also offers a variety of other grounding options for use on trailers or mobile homes or commercial properties where you need to attach to an I-beam. This will take up to a number 6. We also have our bronze water pipe clamp. A benefit to this over some clamps on the market is it has bronze screws, not zinc plated screws, so you don't get corrosion due to dissimilar metals. This can also be used on a ground rod where during installation of the ground rod, the head of the ground rod was mushroomed out and you cannot get a ground rod clamp to install. Lastly, we also offer the acorn style ground rod clamp for use on a 5/8 copper ground rod. So we've covered running the drop from the tap all the way to the customer premise, down to the ground block, and then bonding to make sure that we have equal potential between electrical and your CATV line. The last thing I would like to introduce you to today is MSI's series of screwless baseboard clips. These come in a wide variety. They can be used for twisted pair or coax to attach to either above the kickboard or below the toe molding inside the home. They're available for Cat 3, Cat 5, RG6, and RG6 Quad in 3 colors: white, neutral, and black.